Okay. Dear Ajahn, heartfelt thanks for today's brief meditation guidance, just being and not doing. What's the purpose of meditation? How do we just being if not forcing ourselves to meditate? How to meditate till deep samadhi or 4 jhanas in order to be stream entrers? Okay, so the purpose of meditation is basically to purify the mind of defilements. If you look at one of the main suttas about meditation practice, it's called the Satipatthana Sutta, and you see that the refrain through all of that is overcoming these defilements of the mind. That's really the purpose. If you look at the gradual training, just before you come to the 4 jhanas, it is about overcoming the 5 hindrances. And that overcoming of the 5 hindrances happens through the practice of meditation. So that is the real purpose. And so one of the main ways of doing that is to watch the breath. While you watch the breath, because you are staying with one thing, the mind is not distracted, and because the mind is not distracted, it becomes peaceful. When the mind becomes peaceful, it is a sign that the hindrances are going down. There's fewer defilements in the mind. That is a sign of that. So the reason why you have desires, the reasons why you get upset about things is because you are looking at the object that gives rise to desire or gives rise to anger. You can only be angry if you keep on focusing on that person you find difficult. You can only have desire because you like the, what is it called? The baker's cottage biscuits, whatever it is. Yeah, this is called. I don't know what this is. You have desires. So if you're watching the breath, you are not watching an object which gives rise to desire, nor are you watching an object that gives rise to ill will. And so the defilements tend to die down because you're staying with something that is neutral. Defilements become less and less and less as a consequence of that. So this is the point of meditation, overcoming those defilements. One of the benefits of meditation, that is the purpose, but how you experience that is much more interesting, because the way you experience that is through 2 qualities. One is peace, tranquility. The other one is bliss and joy and happiness. So as the defilements go down, the peace and the bliss go up. They are inversely proportional to each other, if you know the the technical terminology. They are inversely proportional. Defilements go down, bliss and peace go up. This is how you experience the lack of defilements. It just feels incredibly happy, and it can become very, very blissful, like really, really blissful not to have any defilements of the mind. The more joy you have, the less defilements you have in the mind. It sounds very dry when we talk about overcoming defilements, but the moment you understand that the way you experience it is in terms of joy, it becomes incredibly attractive. Less defilements, more joy. Less defilements, more peace and tranquility. It's a very beautiful process, the process of meditation. But in the beginning, it takes a bit of time before this really works. So in the beginning, you just learn to let go, just learn to relax, just learn to take it easy. And then gradually you build up this understanding of meditation. Question number 2. How do we just be if not forcing ourselves to meditate? So the way to do that is to give a simile that I sometimes use, is when let's say that you have been to work all day, you come back home, and how do you feel when you've been working all day? You feel maybe exhausted and tired. Does anyone have that feeling? Sometimes, you had enough, I just want to crash out. So what do you do when you feel? Sometimes you just sit down, right? You sit on a chair, you lean back, and you close your eyes, and you just feel tired. What do you do? Nothing. Sleep? Maybe you sleep, but maybe you don't even sleep. Maybe you sleep, but maybe you don't sleep. It depends on the situation. Maybe you're just tired and exhausted. Maybe you don't want to sleep, but you just feel tired in the sense of being drained or something like that, But you don't do anything, You just sit there. And that is exactly what meditation is like, You don't do anything, you just sit there. Just as when you come back home and you are exhausted, you sit down in your favorite chair or you lie down on your bed or whatever it is that you do, and you just chillax. You don't do anything. You feel exhausted and you allow that to be, because you know if you just allow it to be, it will gradually dissipate and you get energy will return again. And after 5 or 10 minutes or 15 minutes or half an hour, whatever it takes, you get up from your chair and then you carry on with cooking dinner or whatever it is that you have to do, afterwards. You know, can anyone relate to that feeling? You know what I'm talking about? Yeah? It kind of makes sense. So meditation is a bit like that. That's what you're supposed to do. That's very different from what most people do in meditation. Most people, they watch the breath. Yeah, watch the breath, watch the breath. Don't watch the breath like that. It's painful to watch the breath like that. Hold on to the breath. Grasp the breath. No, please don't do that. Just wait, relax, enjoy. You are tired. Everyone is tired. Everyone does too much. You've been watching your mobile phone for too long. Sorry, I apologize. I'm being very naughty. So we are exhausted from all of this activity. Now is the time to do absolutely nothing. Just enjoy the peace, enjoy the tranquility. The reason why we force ourselves to watch the breath is because we become frustrated. The mind actually doesn't, the mind just keeps on wondering and thinking about this and thinking about that. That's why we grasp onto the breath. But actually that's the wrong way to overcome the thinking mind. The way to overcome the thinking mind is, number one, to have right view, to understand what really matters, what really is important, so you can let go of all that thinking because it doesn't matter. Number two is to enjoy the meditation, enjoy the peace, enjoy the good company. This is why the happiness of meditation is so important, because that becomes the glue. I want to eat this microphone all the time, I don't know. Becomes the glue that draws the mind, to the meditation object. This is how it works. And so don't force is the wrong way of doing this. It can be very frustrating because you wonder, how are you ever going to overcome the thinking mind? Well, actually not by using force, but by enjoying the meditation, by allowing things to be. Wow, how wonderful it is to be here at the BGF. All these like-minded people, all good people. Everyone here is good. Sometimes people around you may irritate you a little bit. It would be a miracle if people didn't irritate you, because we are all irritating. That's the problem. I am also irritating. I apologize for irritating you, but guaranteed I will sometimes irritate you. Sometimes you will irritate me maybe, and you will irritate each other, right? This is life because we are all irritating. Remember that. But that doesn't mean we're not good people. This is just the way we are. We rub up against each other. But you are all good people. What a wonderful thing it is to be together with good people. It's a wonderful thing. This is what happens here at the BGF. It's a place of spiritual practice. It's a place of peace. It's a place of kindness, of generosity. This amazing breakfast that you offer every day. I come down and get this amazing breakfast. You have the similar breakfast. I don't know if you have the same. It's amazing. It's remarkable. And it's just wonderful to see that. And not only do they offer you a nice breakfast, they do it with a smile, for goodness sake. There's no grudges or anything like that. And after you're finished, they wash the dishes as well. What a wonderful thing that is. It makes you happy just to see the kindness of other people. It makes you happy. This is the kind of people you are surrounded with. This is the kind of people you find in the monastery. You have to think about people in the right way when you understand those intentions. Everyone here wants to do the right thing. What a wonderful thing that is. They are not perfect, but you can't expect the people to be perfect. But what is amazing is that people are even trying to do the right thing. That is what is so wonderful. So this is how you lift up your mind. This is how you feel. This is a good place. This is where you find your refuge. Then you can be peaceful. Then you stop thinking about all the silly things in the world. So this is how you be without do. No doing. Just relax, sit back, wait, be incredibly patient, and just enjoy the sense of peace and the good company. then eventually the breath will just come. Eventually, when mindfulness arises, then the breath will be there, because the breath is one of the things. If you are thinking, you won't see the breath, because then you see the thoughts. But once the thoughts die down and you are just present, well, the breath is one of the things that is here, so you will see the breath. When mindfulness comes, the breath comes with it. How do you become mindful? Two things that support mindfulness, says the suttas: kindness and right view. Those are the two things. These are the things I've just been talking about. Kindness is your appreciation of the people around you. You have metta, you have compassion for them. Right view is understanding the priorities, what is important in the world. How to meditate till deep samadhi or jhanas in order to be a stream enterer? Well, you have just asked some very basic questions, and now you want to become a stream enterer. I would recommend you. So, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step, right? Ancient Chinese saying. Is that right? Yeah. That's a nice, beautiful saying. It's a really nice saying. And so you just start out on this journey of the Noble Eightfold Path. Take the first few steps, and if you carry on and you keep on going, you will get to the jhanas and then eventually to stream entry. That's the result. Do all of those things I've said just now. Learn to be aware of the breath. Follow the breath. The breath will take you all the way to jhana. Then eventually you can become a stream enterer. All right. Okay, so here we have two questions. Are all bodhisattvas and devas of Indian in origin? How about non-Indians? Good question. What was that? Malaysian? Norwegian, right, okay, I see, yeah. Okay. Any website book explain by line the real meaning and significance of the chanting? Okay. So, bodhisattvas, to be honest with you, I don't believe much in bodhisattvas anyway. That's kind of the idea. So I would say there's no bodhisattva, they have no origin. There's no such thing as bodhisattvas. There's only one kind of bodhisattva, and that is before the Buddha becomes the Buddha, he's a bodhisattva for that last life. Yeah, from the time the Buddha goes forth to become a monk until his awakening, that is to me the bodhisattva, the one who is intent on awakening. All of these other bodhisattvas, not so sure. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this bodhisattva ideas. Anyway, that's my view of things. So you may have a different view, but that's my view. Devas are everywhere. Yeah, there's lots of devas right here, I reckon. Yeah. Devas has to do with the qualities of your heart. Yeah, it has to do with, if you have the right kind of qualities, you will get reborn as a deva. I think many people here have the right qualities already. Yeah, so you are kind of little devas already. Devas in waiting, yeah. Soon to be devas, and hopefully not too soon. Death contemplation, right? Death contemplation. Okay, there you are. So, devas are everywhere. This is kind of the interesting things I was talking about yesterday, about you have to be reborn in the right corner of heaven, because you have the Christian corner, the Muslim corner, the atheist corner, yeah? Because you have good people in all religions, in every sphere of life, yeah? So it doesn't matter what kind of person you are, everyone can get reborn as a deva. This is the beautiful thing about this. It just depends on the qualities of your heart. That's the important thing here. So devas can have any kind of origin. You'll be surprised to hear there are even Norwegian devas. That may sound like an oxymoron. How can Vikings be devas, right? That must surely cannot be the case. Yes. Everyone has devas. Yeah, not everyone has God and devas. You have to be a good person, right? Yeah, every good person, right? Yeah. At least one. Someone have a whole army of devas looking after you. Yeah. That's kind of nice, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. All right. So, question number 2. Any website book to explain line by line the meaning and significance of the chanting? Usually what you can do is just type the chanting into Google search, and Google will give you the answer straight away. Yeah. These days you can ask the AI to give you the chanting. Make sure the AI doesn't hallucinate, because you might get some dodgy, kind of things. AI is kind of a two-edged sword. It's very useful as long as it tells you the truth, but the moment it starts lying to you, it's a problem. AI is kind of, it's little bit, I don't know, but I'm not sure about AI. It's kind of dodgy. I recently heard about someone, they were doing some research on AI, and then the AI came up with all of these beautiful things, and then it gave all these references. It turned out half of the reference it had just made up out of nothing. That's AI for you. So be careful with AI. Yeah. So so the chanting, usually it can be found online, or you can find, so just go online. That's the best. That's what I really recommend. These days, that's kind of the place to go usually. Most of these chantings we do have been translated, and if they haven't been translated, it's usually because they are not worth translating. Some of the chants are not really all that inspiring. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Dear Ajahn, for a while I have been struggling to find my own sense of purpose, especially in my career. I feel lost, but after listening to you that we should eliminate the sense of self and get rid of our ego, how can I find greater clarity and have a stronger grounding, stronger sense of security? Thank you. So remember, when I say that we should eliminate the sense of self and get rid of our ego, I'm not really saying that that's what you should do. I'm saying that this is the end result of the path, way down the track. It's very important to do things in the right sequence. If you try to eliminate your ego when you are an ordinary person, you may just end up using force. You may end up feeling more sense of lack of purpose, because you're starting in the wrong end. Starting in the right end is to be kind. First of all, have a good kind of ego, a sense of self that is positive, where you feel good about yourself. This is the first point. Then you eliminate the ego down the track. So don't get these things the wrong way. If you do, you will feel more despair, less sense of purpose, even worse. Very important to do the right thing at the right time. So, start to practice this path really in a very kind of systematic way. In your career, ask yourself not just what your career is about, how you can make more out of it, how you can make more money and these kind of things. Ask yourself how you can practice the Noble Eightfold Path within your career. Because that is possible, because in our careers we're always dealing with people. Instead of dealing with them because you have to deal with them as a job, how can you be kind to these people? How can you add value to their life? My career as a monk is also to teach. I always try to ask myself, how can I be of most value to the people I meet? When I teach. It's this. I try to avoid doing this for my own ego, because that is such a stupid thing. I know if I do that, I will just be miserable afterwards. So I try to think, how can I be of service for people? Because if I am of service to the people I teach, I feel good afterwards. That's what gives happiness to anyone who is a real teacher. Not about building up my own kind of sense of self or whatever. You do the same. How can you be of service to the world? How can you be of service for your fellow members at the BGF? How can you be of service to your family? How can you be of service to your co-workers, your customers? Even your boss, how can you be of service to your boss? How can you do something good in the world? How can you be more generous? Show more kindness, have more compassion, more understanding. Bring in the Dhamma into your life, in all aspects of your life. Then it becomes a beautiful life. It changes everything if you do that. Everything in our life should be guided by the Dhamma. When that happens, our life becomes incredibly meaningful. suddenly life takes off in an entirely new way. And that is really what we should be going for. So that is what I would suggest, and then you will find real security, because what you're actually finding there is the refuge in the triple gem. That is what you're finding when you live in this kind of way, and that is the real security, because the triple gem is always available. While everything in the world is impermanent, as long as the Dhamma is here, we can find security in living with kindness, living in a positive way. That is the right way forward. Okay, so best of luck here. See what happens. Dear Ajahn, kindly clarify the following. Under the great chapter after the Buddha emerged from enlightenment, a Brahmin approached him, and the question is, how is one a Brahmin? Isn't this the first Dhamma the Buddha taught instead of Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta? Yes. And also I should say the last part here, sadhu times 3, may Ajahn be healthy and well always. That That is very nice of you to say, but of course it's not going to happen. Be healthy always, no such thing. Yeah, sickness just waiting to come out. But anyway, I appreciate the kindness, so that's good. So yes, it is in a sense the first teaching, but remember that here we are sort of. This is a little bit kind of not as certain as the teaching of the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, the Buddha says, okay, listen monks, I will give you a teaching, right? These are Buddhists. This is a real Buddhist teaching. Here it's a little bit more, okay, this is kind of a random Brahmin. He is interested, but he's not really a Buddhist. It's a bit it's a bit uncertain, the whole thing. It doesn't have the same power as the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, and that's why that is considered usually the first teachings. So this is a little bit more, okay, teaching, all right, but if you know what I mean. But you have a point, and it's never quite as simple as things meet the eye, so things are always more complicated than they may seem. So that is indeed right. Okay. Dear Ajahn Brahmali, can you please explain the two kinds of sadness mentioned in the Digha Nikaya 1 Sakkapanya Sutta, meditation on feeling? Wow, two kinds of sadness. Is someone able to look that up for me, please? The two kinds of sadness in the Sakkapanya Sutta, Digha Nikaya 21, because I cannot remember right now what they are. Is it the sadness based on the household life and the sadness based on the spiritual life, or something like that, or what is it? I'm not sure now. Once we have this clarified, then the answer may emerge. I can't. Can you please say that again? Okay. So this is very similar to what we heard before. We were looking at the idea of freedom, right? When we looked at the idea of freedom, is that there are certain kinds of freedom that lead to unskillful qualities becoming more and skillful qualities going down. There are other kinds of freedom where the unskillful qualities go down and the skillful qualities go up. We should have the second kind of freedom, where the skillful qualities become more and the unskillful qualities go down. So everything in life can be organized in this way, including also sadness. There are certain sadnesses where the unskillful qualities become more and the skillful qualities go down. So what is that kind of sadness? Well, it is a sadness when you just grieve because something went wrong, someone died and you feel kind of terrible about it and you get depressed and sad. That is not helpful, that is not useful. But the sadness, which is the spiritual kind of sadness, when you feel like This is kind of straight from the suttas, where it says that, oh, when shall I too become enlightened? And you feel sad because you're not enlightened yet, but you are inclining in that way. That is called the spiritual sadness, and it leads you in the right direction towards awakening. Yeah, when too shall I too become one of those arahants in the world? Yeah, when everyone, you're longing to become an arahant, longing to be a stream entry, longing to attain the jhanas. When shall that happen to me? That is the right kind of sadness. Something like that. Okay. Domanassa. So not necessarily sadness, but kind of a negative mind state. Yeah, you want to get there. Dear Ajahn, I read in a book that says the illusion of control is more persuasive than the reality of uncertainty. Yes, I think that is true. And that's why we are deluded, because it is more persuasive. We can't see it. This is why it's so hard to see. So we cling to stories about outcomes being in our control. Yeah? Yes? How ironic that it comes from a book about money. Okay. How can I be more comfortable with uncertainty and impermanence and ultimately live a happy life? So the way to be comfortable about it is because you have something else to hold on to. Yeah, this is kind of the critical thing. The more you see the truth of uncertainty and unreliability, that things are out of control, you have to have something else that you can lean on while you do that. And that something else to lean on this is why we have the refuges, the triple refuge, the Buddha Dhamma Sangha, because you can lean on that, you lean on the Dhamma. But most importantly, you lean on your meditation practice. The Buddha says to be an island unto ourselves, the Dhamma to be on our island. And the Buddha says the way to be an island unto yourself is to practice the 4 Satipatthanas. What that means is basically that you watch the breath, and as you watch the breath, you find that peace and happiness within. And if you know how to meditate properly, then you can access that peace and happiness almost at any time. And then you have a real refuge from the world. You have a place you can withdraw, find the real home inside of yourself, because the homes outside, the homes of the world, are always uncertain, always unreliable. This is one of the reasons why meditation is actually a real refuge, a place of safety where you can let go of the world outside. So you have the Dhamma is your refuge. You know where to look when you have a question. You know who to ask. The Buddha is the right person to ask if you have any doubts about things. That is our refuge. And then on top of that comes your personal practice. These 2 things make it possible to deal with impermanence. Again, it's this idea that if you want to deal with these very difficult realities in the world, you have to have something else that upholds you. And that is the happiness of the path, the happiness of the practice. That gives you strength, that happiness. That gives you resilience. And that resilience enables you then to be able to face up to some of those realities of existence. And then when you face up to those realities, what happens is that you let go more because you see the realities. When you let go more, it gives access to even more happiness on the path, because that deepens your meditation, which then allows you to see more things clearly, which makes you let go even more, and you get even more happiness on this side. And you can see how this builds up in this way, and then ultimately it leads then to enlightenment itself by going through this process. But it's a beautiful process because it always leads to higher and higher kinds of happiness, more and more sublime kind of feelings, which is really this is the direction of this whole path. So, there you are. That is all the questions in my favorite box. So, if you wish, you are more than welcome to ask some. We have a few minutes left until we get to 5:30. So, if you have any last questions, if you're not exhausted yet, then we can still do some last questions.
Maybe Ajahn, one from me. the word desire, often as I talk to a lot of people, especially Buddhists who latch on the word desire, and they say everything desire is bad and all that kind of thing. But then as you have demonstrated, desire can be good. Desire to know the Dhamma. Desire. So how can we sort of make the distinction? Every time we say desire, automatically the mind switches to the bad stuff. So it's like almost like a taboo word in the Buddhist world. Desire is bad.
It's true, and it is. You're quite right. It often is used in a kind of negative way, and so I know exactly what you mean. And so it basically is the same thing as we see here. The division between what is the desire that makes wholesome states increase and unwholesome states go down, and what is the opposite. And sometimes that may mean enjoying sensual pleasures that are bit more refined. Let's say that you come home from work and you are very tired. Okay, you listen to some soothing music or something like that. You have a nice cup of tea, or you do some sensual thing that is kind of refined, or you go for a walk into the local park over here. We walked from that park the other day. That's a kind of sensual pleasure, right? But it's a very refined kind of sensual pleasure, and it leads to the calming down of the mind. So it leans the mind in the right direction. And so it's very important not to take these things as absolutes, because if you do, then you destroy your life, makes your life miserable. Enjoy your food. Sometimes people think that as if you're a Buddhist, you can't enjoy your food. No, of course you should enjoy your food, for goodness sake. One of the things I always loved about Ajahn Brahm, this is why I became a monk, this is one of the secrets, right? Ajahn Brahm said, enjoy your lunch. I thought, this is a monastery for me. That's what I thought, right? This I'm going to ordain here, This is no hardship in this monastery. Enjoy your lunch kind of monastery. Enjoy your lunch monastery. It's a kind of special kind of monastery. And so, and for you are lay people, of course you can enjoy yourself. Don't become the dry kind of Buddhist, boring, that no one likes, terrible Buddhist. Be a joyful Buddhist, a happy Buddhist. Enjoy life, for goodness sake. Don't go too far. Don't do stupid things, but also enjoy life. Find that beautiful middle way where you don't do bad things, but you also enjoy yourself. And if you do find that the point comes where you really want to renounce more, usually it's because your meditation is going really, really well already. That's when it comes naturally. So be smart about these things. Don't become this kind of over-the-top Buddhist that everyone thinks is actually, what's the point of life anymore when you do that. And the Buddha says, what is also interesting in the suttas, it talks about desire leading in the right way. I mean, for example, the 4 Iddhipadas, one of the Iddhipadas is Chanda Samadhi. It's a samadhi arising out of desire, basically. And that desire is the desire, to gain samadhi, you have to have the desire to sit down. You have the desire to meditate. If you haven't got any desire to meditate, it's never going to happen. So you need some kind of initial desire to get started. And then as you get started, as the meditation starts to work, then you let go of that desire too, to allow the mind to become entirely peaceful. So it's all about time and place, understanding how to do these things in the right way, and then kind of the path emerges out of that. So be Ajahn Brahm Buddhists, be happy Buddhists. I mean, what is so beautiful about, to me, some of the most profound people in the world, some of the people that really exude the Dhamma comes out of their pores, they really have the Dhamma, you see them, you think, wow, Dhamma everywhere, They are also very happy people. They are really happy. They joke easily. They kind of tell stories. You go to someone like Ajahn Ganha, this really happy-go-lucky person. Ajahn Brahm tells the story of kind of even some of the serious monks in Thailand behind the scenes. They would make jokes. They would roll around the floor, holding their tummies because they're laughing so hard. That's the story of Ajahn Lim that Ajahn Brahm tells, not in front of lay people, but behind the scenes. Yeah, so it's kind of interesting. It's always more complicated than we think. I know that Ajahn Brahm is a very happy person. I lived with him for 30 years. There's no one in the world who knows Ajahn Brahm better than I do. I know exactly what he's like. Yeah, he's a very happy person. And so to me, happiness. Remember, according to the suttas, a non-returner is hassa panya. Laughing wisdom, happy wisdom is one of the epithets from the suttas of the anagami. If you are profound, you are also happy. You have a light heart. You have joy easily. If you are too serious, then something is a little bit wrong, to be honest with you. It is not, shouldn't be. That's not kind of what the purpose of the path. The Buddha says is to overcome dukkha. But some of these people, you think they have more dukkha, from the way they look. Got to be careful what I say, but you know what I mean. Okay, any last question? We have another 5 minutes to go, so if you have any last questions, you are again very welcome to ask.
Kind of joke.
It's a joke. Please tell a joke, Venerable. We would like to hear a joke.
Well, to enter the stream, do we need to know how to swim? Stream enter.
Stream entry, yeah. That's a very good question. I think so I think more important is to know how to float. That's more important. Yeah, if you can float, you will be all right. Because floating is more relaxed. Yeah, you need to really relax, and then you enter the stream, right? Yeah. Great. Okay, so thank you, Venerable, and thank you, everyone. Let's call it a day. I think this is the right time. So again, I wish you all a marvelous evening, a good night's rest, and then we will see you back again, hopefully, tomorrow morning. Sadhu, 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 sadhu. And let's pay respect to the Buddha Dhamma Sangha. Sharing merits, first of all. Qingming Festival. So here we go. Sharing of merits. Edang men yati nang hu Dunyatayo Edang men yati nang hotu Sukita hon dunyatayo Edang men yati nang hotu Sukita hon dunyatayo Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.